Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters, did you know that some of the in-your-pocket change could be worth a fortune? Today, we're diving into the top high-value wheat pennies and quarter-dollar coins that could be worth millions of dollars. Stick around to see if you have one of these rare coins hiding in your collection. First up, the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark that features a cut line. If you're curious about how such a coin affects the value in today's market, or if you own one yourself, this video is for you. Stick with us as we explore its history, key features, and, of course, its value in today's auction market. To understand the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, we have to step back to a time when America was rebuilding after World War II. The 1949 penny was minted during a period of economic growth and stability. People were heading back to work, and the country was enjoying a period of peace and prosperity. The wheat penny design, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse, was still in circulation, and it was a familiar sight to Americans of the day. While millions of 1949 Lincoln wheat pennies were minted, what sets some of them apart is not just the year or the mint mark, it's the condition of the coin and, in some cases, unique characteristics, such as the cut line we're focusing on today. But before we get into the details, let's take a look at the coin's key features. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny follows the traditional design introduced in 1909, but with subtle differences depending on the year it was minted. The 1949 version, especially those without a mint mark, is notable for its simplicity and clean design. On the obverse, we see the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the words "In God We Trust" and "In Liberty" inscribed around the image. The year 1949 is prominently displayed beneath Lincoln's bust. The reverse showcases the classic wheat stalks, which represent America's agricultural backbone, and the inscription Pluribus Unums, along with 1 cent and United States of America at the top. This design continued to circulate until the Lincoln Memorial reverse took over in 1959. Now, one of the key aspects we need to discuss is the cut line on this coin. A cut line usually occurs when a coin is damaged, either during its production process or through improper handling, and it can affect the coin's overall appeal to collectors. Let's dive deeper into how this impacts the coin's value. A cut line refers to a deep groove or line that's visible on the surface of the coin. It can happen for a few reasons, such as being struck by another object or damaged in some other way during circulation. These lines can significantly affect the appearance of the coin, making it less pristine compared to coins that are free from such damage. Coins with cut lines often see a reduction in their value due to the impaired condition. However, that doesn't mean they lose all worth. The degree of damage, location of the cut line, and whether the coin is still legible or retains significant features all play a role in determining its price. In the case of the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny with a cut line in fine condition, the damage is noticeable but not so severe that it completely destroys the coin's value. For collectors, this creates a unique scenario one where the coin's historical significance and rarity still hold weight, but the condition must be carefully assessed. Now let's talk about coin grading, particularly fine condition. Coins in fine condition show moderate wear but still retain much of the key details. For a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, you'll see that the Lincoln portrait remains recognizable, and the wheat stalks on the reverse still hold some definition. In a fine condition coin, you'll notice that the high points, like the details of Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks, are still visible, but they've lost some of their sharpness. A cut line in this grade would be noticeable, but won't detract entirely from the coin's collectible value. Even though the cut line is a significant factor, collectors still appreciate the historical value and the rarity of finding a 1949 penny in fine condition. Coins with cut lines like this one still hold appeal for those looking to complete their Lincoln wheat penny series. Now, let's get to the big question. What is the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark with a cut line in fine condition worth? In today's auction market, a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition can fetch anywhere from $590 to $600, depending on the severity of the damage and how well the coin has been maintained overall. When a cut line is present, the value may drop slightly, perhaps around $780 to $1,000, because collectors tend to prefer coins without significant damage. However, rarity and historical significance still play a major role in its pricing. Coins that have been professionally graded and authenticated may fetch higher prices, especially if the cut line is minor and doesn't detract from the coin's overall appeal. If your 1949 penny with a cut line is well preserved despite the damage, expect it to be on the higher end of this price range. If you're a collector or investor looking to buy or sell a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny with a cut line, here are a few tips to keep in mind. First, always check for authenticity and grading. A coin's value can be significantly impacted by its certification. If you're selling, consider having your penny graded by a trusted service like PCGs or NG. If you're buying, ensure you're purchasing from a reputable source that provides clear images of the coin and a return policy in case you're not satisfied. First up, the 1970 Washington quarter, specifically the large date version with D mint mark. But here's the twist. This coin is in damage condition. We'll explore its value in today's auction market, why damage affects its worth, and what you can expect to get if you're looking to buy or sell this coin. Let's get started. First, let's take a closer look at the 1970 Washington quarter. This coin was minted as part of the ongoing Washington Quarter series, which was introduced in 1932. The 1970 quarter was produced using a copper nickel-clad composition, not silver, unlike earlier quarters. However, some people still mistakenly refer to it as a silver quarter because they think of the pre-1965 issues. This coin actually has a clad composition, so it doesn't contain any silver. Now, the large date variety of the 1970 quarter features a noticeable difference in the size of the digits in the year. It's a minor but distinct feature, and this variety is one that collectors specifically look for when completing their quarter collections. Now, let's talk about the damage condition of this particular coin. As you can see, this 1970 Washington quarter has sustained some damage over the years. The coin might have visible scratches, dents, bends, or other forms of wear that can occur when a coin is mishandled, dropped, or exposed to harsh conditions. Coins like this one, which have visible damage, typically fall into a lower grade. Damage like this significantly lowers the coin's value. In the world of numismatics, damage can dramatically affect a coin's appeal and price. While a coin in mint or extra fine condition can fetch a premium, damage often brings the value down to just a fraction of its potential worth. So, what is the value of a 1970 Washington quarter in damaged condition? Wow! When a coin like this is in damaged condition, it's important to keep in mind that auction prices can vary widely depending on factors like the extent of the damage and demand among collectors at the time. Typically, a 1970 Washington quarter with damage can be worth anywhere from $39,000. Coins in this condition don't carry the same collectible value as well-preserved examples, but they still have some worth due to their status as U.S. currency. Some buyers may be willing to purchase them for their historical significance or simply as a filler for a collection. So, what factors contribute to the value of a damaged coin? Well, the extent of the damage plays a big role. Coins that have light wear or are simply scratched may still have some value to collectors, but those with heavy dents, bends, or corrosion are usually worth less. The market for damaged coins is limited as collectors generally seek coins in better condition. Additionally, if the damage is something unusual, like an error caused by minting issues, that could actually increase its value in the right market. However, that's not the case for a typical coin like this 1970 quarter. Damage, in general, just lowers the value and makes it less attractive to potential buyers. Let's quickly compare this damaged 1970 Washington quarter with one that's in much better condition, like an extra fine or mint state version. As you can see, the pristine coins retain sharp details, vibrant designs, and a strong appearance, while the damaged coin shows clear signs of wear and impairment. The difference in value is substantial. A well-preserved 1970 Washington quarter can be worth between $53,000 or more, depending on the grade and other factors. but when the coin is damaged, its market value drops significantly, sometimes to just a few dollars. So there you have it, the 1970 Washington quarter with the large date and D-mint mark, in damaged condition, is worth about $90,000 in today's auction market. While it's not a high-value coin, it still has some worth, especially for those looking to fill gaps in their collections or pick up a coin with a bit of history. Next up, the 1955 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, without mint mark. This particular coin is an important piece of American numismatic history, and if you've got one in your collection, you may be sitting on something valuable. We're going to explore its unique features, its historical significance, and most importantly, its value in today's auction market. So let's jump right in. To truly appreciate the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny, let's take a step back to the 1950s. Post-World War II, America was experiencing a period of economic growth, with the country in the middle of a consumer boom. This is when the Lincoln wheat penny was still in active circulation, and it was one of the most widely used coins in the United States. The 1955 penny, especially those without a mint mark, carries historical significance for a number of reasons. But what sets it apart in the coin world and what makes it so valuable today comes down to a mix of rarity, condition, and collector's interest. The 1955 Lincoln wheat penny is part of the classic design series that started in 1909, featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front, the obverse, and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. But even though it shares the same general design, the 1955 penny has a few key features that make it particularly noteworthy. On the obverse, we see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln's portrait, you'll notice the words "In God, we trust liberty" and the year 1955 right beneath his bust. This particular penny is without a mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia, as opposed to the Denver or San Francisco mints that added mint marks to their coins. On the reverse, we have the iconic wheat stalks that give this coin its name, wheat penny. Above the stalks, we have the words "A pluribus unum United States of America" and 1 cent inscribed. It's a simple design that speaks volumes about America's agricultural roots. Now, when it comes to the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, there are a couple of things that make it stand out in today's market. First, this penny is rare enough to be of interest to collectors, especially in certain conditions. While millions were minted, many of them were lost to time, circulated extensively, or damaged, meaning high-quality examples are relatively scarce. Coins in fine condition are much rarer than heavily circulated examples, making them more desirable. So, when we talk about the value of a 1955 penny without mint mark in fine condition, we are specifically looking at a coin that retains strong, readable features but shows some light wear from circulation. You'll still see the details of Lincoln's portrait, but there will be signs of wear on the high points, like the cheek and hair. The wheat stalks on the reverse will also show wear, but remain clearly. To understand why this coin is valuable, we need to talk about coin grading. Fine condition coins have noticeable wear, but they still maintain enough detail for collectors to appreciate. For 1955 Lincoln wheat penny, here's what we look for. The obverse will show signs of wear on Lincoln's face and hair, but the features are still fairly well defined. The reverse, particularly the wheat stalks, will show wear, but the overall design remains intact. Essentially, a fine condition coin has been through circulation, but hasn't been overly damaged. A coin in fine condition won't be as sharp as one in extra fine or mint state, but it should still look presentable with visible details. If you have a 1955 penny that looks like this, you're holding a valuable piece of history. In today's market, a 1955 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition can range from $100 to $150, depending on its level of preservation. However, a penny in excellent fine condition, with more legible features, may fetch closer to the $180 mark or even higher. Coins that have been professionally graded and verified by services like PCGs or NGC could be priced even higher, especially if they're particularly well preserved despite their circulation. Over the past few years, the market for 1955 wheat pennies has seen modest increases. With many collectors looking to complete their wheat penny collections, this coin's value has remained steady, especially for coins that are well preserved. Next up, the 1974 Washington quarter without mint mark in good condition. You may have one of these in your collection, or maybe you're just curious about its value. Either way, we're going to break down what this coin is worth in today's auction market. Let's dive in. Here we have the 1974 Washington quarter. As you can see, this coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington by John Flanagan on the obverse and the eagle design on the reverse. The coin you see here was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why there's no mint mark visible on the coin. Just to clarify, the absence of a mint mark indicates that this coin was minted in Philadelphia. In 1974, most of the Washington quarters were struck in this mint, making them fairly common compared to quarters from other mints. However, what matters more in determining its value is the condition of the coin. This 1974 Washington quarter is graded in good condition. Now, good means that the coin has seen some wear and tear, but the main features are still visible. For this particular coin, you can still make out George Washington's face, though the details may be a little worn down, and the reverse eagle design shows wear as well. While this coin isn't as sharp or detailed as one in higher grades like very fine or extra fine, it's still in decent shape for a coin that's over 50 years old. Coins in a good condition don't carry the highest market value, but they still have some worth, especially when it comes to the silver content. Speaking of silver content, it's important to note that the 1974 Washington quarter contains 90 silver. While the overall condition of the coin may not be stellar, the silver itself still gives it intrinsic value. Based on the current silver market price of around $80 per ounce, the silver in a 1974 Washington quarter alone is worth roughly $170,000. Now, if we look at the coin's value in the current auction market, a 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark in good condition typically sells for around $220,000. The value is influenced by the silver content, but also by the collector demand for these coins. Since it's a fairly common coin from the Philadelphia Mint, it doesn't command a high premium compared to rarer mint years. While it's not a high-value coin, it still holds some appeal for collectors, especially those looking to add silver to their collection without spending too much. If you have a 1974 Washington quarter in good condition, it's definitely worth keeping in your collection. But remember, the value might not skyrocket anytime soon, as it's a common issue. So in today's market, a 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark in good condition is valued around $254,000. It's a great entry-level coin for new collectors, and for silver enthusiasts, it's a solid choice without a huge investment. Next up, the 1940 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. This penny, though showing full damage and a distinct color shade, still holds value in the market. If you've stumbled upon one of these, you might be curious about its worth. In today's video, we'll break down its value in the current auction market, how the damage and color shade impact its price, and what collectors are willing to pay for it. Let's get started. Cut to vintage footage or images of the 1940s in the US post-Great Depression, World War II era, showcasing the economic environment of the time. To understand the significance of the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, let's first take a step back to 1940. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and World War II was just beginning to intensify. The Lincoln wheat penny was part of everyday life for millions of Americans during this time, and it was minted in large quantities by the US Mint. However, what we're specifically looking at today is a 1940 penny without a mint mark, which was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. These pennies are part of the famous wheat penny series, which featured Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and wheat stalks on the reverse, a design that lasted from 1909 until 1958. While millions of these pennies were produced, those with unique characteristics, such as specific dates, mint marks, and conditions often become the focus of collectors, especially in today's coin market. Let's take a closer look at the key features of this particular coin. On the obverse, we have Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. Surrounding Lincoln are the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1940 as this penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. You'll notice that there is no mint mark under the. On the reverse, we see the well-known wheat stalk design with the words A Pluribus Unum and United States of America's inscribed above and below the phrase 1 cent. This design is iconic, representing America's agrarian roots and paying homage to the nation's farming history. Now, let's get into the condition of this specific 1940 Lincoln wheat penny. When we talk about full damage, we mean that the coin has been subjected to significant wear and tear over time. You might notice scratches, dings, and discoloration, which can significantly affect the overall value of the coin. Coins in full damage condition have lost much of their original sharpness. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait may appear worn with noticeable scratches and discoloration. The reverse may show a lack of detail in the wheat stalks, and the words might be faint or obscured. Damage to the surface of the coin might also result in a color shade that is different from the normal copper tone, often brown or darkened due to age, exposure to environmental factors, or improper storage. The color shade of a coin can be a critical factor in its valuation, especially when a coin is in full damage condition. Normally, Lincoln wheat pennies are made of copper, which naturally ages to a brownish-red color over time. However, oxidation, corrosion, or environmental exposure can lead to a coin changing color, sometimes resulting in a dark brown or even a blackened shade. When a coin shows signs of color change or tarnishing in full damage condition, collectors often view it as less desirable compared to coins that have maintained their original copper tones. However, some collectors are still drawn to these discolored pennies for their unique appearance. In some cases, a penny with a distinctive color might actually appeal to a niche market, particularly if the damage or color is considered unique or aesthetically interesting. While the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is fairly common, the full damage condition and color shade significantly affect its value. A penny in full damage condition could range anywhere from $700 to $900 depending on the severity of the damage and how collectors perceive the color shade. For example, some 1940 wheat pennies in full damage condition have sold at auction for as little as $980, especially if the damage is extensive and the color change is undesirable. However, a coin with mild damage and a unique color could fetch $1,000 to $1,200. Coins that have been well maintained, even with damage, may attract a slightly higher price due to the demand for this particular year. Next up in today's video, we're diving into the 1970 Washington quarter without a mint mark in very fine condition. You might have one of these in your collection, or you might be curious about its value in today's auction market. Let's take a closer look and see what it's worth. Here we have the 1970 Washington quarter, a classic coin that's over 50 years old. This coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington by John Flanagan on the obverse, and the reverse design shows a bald eagle perched on a Now, this particular quarter was minted in Philadelphia, as indicated by the absence of a mint. The absence of a mint mark tells us this quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1970, most of the Washington quarters came from Philadelphia, making them fairly common in circulation. However, the real factor that affects the value of this coin is its condition. This 1970 Washington quarter is graded in very fine condition, which is a significant step up from lower grades like good or fine. In very fine condition, we can see a lot of the finer details on the coin, like George Washington's hair, his coat, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. It still shows some wear from circulation, but the main design features are sharp and well-defined. As you can see in this comparison, the very fine coin has more defined details and fewer signs of heavy wear. A coin in this grade holds much more appeal for collectors than one in a lower grade, which increases its market value. Now let's talk about the silver content. This 1970 Washington quarter contains 90 silver, which is important because the value of silver has risen significantly over the years. Even though this coin is from a more common year, the silver content still gives it an intrinsic value. With silver prices hovering around $90 per ounce, the silver content of this quarter alone is worth approximately $300 to $460. So even in very fine condition, the coin's silver content provides a solid base. Looking at auction results for a 1970 Washington quarter in very fine condition, we typically see this coin selling for around $645 to $800. The value here is driven by both the silver. As a result, it's worth a bit more than a coin in lower grades, but it's still not a high dollar coin compared to rarer dates or mint marks. While the 1970 Washington quarter isn't a rare or particularly high-value coin, it's a great option for collectors who are looking to add silver to their collection without breaking the bank. If you have this coin in very fine condition, it's certainly worth holding onto, and it might even increase in value over time as silver prices fluctuate. So, in today's auction market, a 1970 Washington quarter without a mint mark in very fine condition. Next up, the USA silver Washington quarter dollar from 1969 without a mint mark. We'll look at its worth in today's auction market and explore how its condition affects its value. Let's get into it. Here it is, the 1969 Washington quarter. You may notice something about this coin. It's missing the mint mark. For those unfamiliar, the mint mark typically tells us where the coin was minted. In 1969, coins without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The 1969 Washington quarter was part of the regular circulation coins produced by the US Mint, but in good condition, it can still hold some significant value in the market. Let's talk about the condition. When a coin is graded as good, which means it has moderate wear and the details are still visible, but not as sharp as a higher grade coin, the value changes quite a bit compared to a coin in excellent condition. In the case of our 1969 Washington quarter, a good grade typically means the coin has seen circulation and has some visible wear, but it's still recognizable and collectible. Now, let's look at how this coin is valued in today's auction market. According to current auction results and recent sales, a 1969 Washington quarter without mint mark in good condition typically fetches around $30,000. Of course, this can fluctuate based on the buyer's interest and other factors such as demand, rarity, and the specific condition of the coin. Several factors influence this value. While the 1969 Washington quarter is a relatively common coin in good condition, its silver content plays a role too. This quarter contains about 0.1808 ounces of pure silver, which has intrinsic value, especially when silver prices are high. So, if silver prices are up, expect the value of the coin to potentially rise. However, it's important to note that in good condition, the coin's value doesn't just come from the silver content. It's also about the demand from collectors who want to add a piece from a specific year or who focus on coins without mint mark. So, while a 1969 Washington quarter without a mint mark in good condition might not break the bank, it still holds a place in the market and is an interesting piece for any collection. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a new enthusiast, every coin has a story to tell. Next up, 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, but not just any penny. This coin has no mint mark and is in dirty condition. You might be wondering, can this coin still be valuable? Even with all the dirt and wear? Well, you're in the right place to find out. Stay tuned as we break down its worth in the current auction market and explore what makes it unique. First, let's take a quick trip back in time to 1956. This was the year the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny was minted. The country was booming post-Whitney and the economy was seeing growth. The Lincoln wheat penny, introduced in 1909, was still in circulation and became a staple of U.S. currency until 1958. During the 1950s, the penny's design remained largely the same, with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the familiar wheat stalks on the reverse. The 1956 penny, minted in Philadelphia, does not have a mint mark, which means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, a detail that plays a role in its value, especially for collectors focused on minting history. Let's take a closer look at the key features of this coin. On the obverse front, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. Surrounding Lincoln are the words "In God We Trust, Liberty," and of course, the 1956 date. As this coin was minted in Philadelphia, you'll notice there is no mint mark under the date. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic wheat stalks with the phrase E pluribus unums above and United States of America and 1 cent below. This reverse design, used on the wheat pennies, was part of an effort to honor America's agricultural roots. Now, let's talk about the condition of this penny. You might notice that the coin is in dirty condition. There are visible marks, scratches, and a layer of dirt or grime on its surface. Over time, coins accumulate dirt, oil, and other substances, especially if they're not stored properly. This kind of dirt buildup can obscure the fine details of the coin, making it look aged and worn out. The coin's dirtiness means that the fine details, such as Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks, might be harder to distinguish. In many cases, collectors would prefer coins in cleaner or better preserved conditions, as dirt can lower a coin's overall aesthetic appeal and market value. But does this mean the coin is worthless? Not quite. Let's keep going to find out. So how much can you expect to get for a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition? Well, the 1956 wheat penny is quite common. Millions of these pennies were minted, and as a result, they don't carry a huge premium over their face value, especially when in poor condition. In dirty condition, the 1956 penny typically sells for about $400, depending on the severity of the damage. If the coin has been cleaned up or has a bit of shine left, it may be worth slightly more, maybe up to $690 or $800, but for the most part, because of the dirt buildup, it's unlikely to fetch much higher than that, even in today's market. So there you have it, the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in dirty condition. While it may not be one of the most valuable pennies in your collection, it still has a story to tell and a place in history. With so many of these pennies in circulation, it's the condition that will determine the final value, and even a dirty coin might have some value to the right collector. Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark in dirty condition. While it might not be in the best shape, understanding its value in today's auction market is still important for collectors. So, let's dive right into it and see what this coin is worth. Here it is, the 1967 Washington quarter. As you can see, this coin features the famous design by John Flanagan George Washington on the obverse and the eagle perched on a branch on the reverse. But what makes this coin a bit different is that this quarter doesn't have a mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which was common for this year. Coins from 1967 without a mint mark were standard for that time. However, what really affects this coin's value is its condition. As you can tell, this coin is in dirty condition, it shows signs of heavy wear, and the surface has some grime and corrosion, which can happen over time if the coin hasn't been properly stored or grading is crucial when determining a coin's value, and dirty condition means this coin has likely been exposed to elements that have caused tarnishing, staining, or other types of surface damage. As a result, it's not going to fetch a high price compared to coins in better condition. But even with this wear and dirt, it still has value due to its silver content. Now let's talk about the silver content. The 1967 Washington quarter contains 90 silver, which is a big deal. Even in dirty condition, the silver alone gives this coin intrinsic value. The price of silver fluctuates, so the value of the coin will depend in part on current silver prices. As of today, with silver sitting around $600 per ounce, a coin like this has a base value of around $250 to $300 just for its silver content. However, when we look at auction results, a 1967 Washington quarter in dirty condition without a mint mark usually sells for around $320 to $360. The dirty condition lowers its market value, but the coin still retains some worth because collectors know the silver content holds value in the long term, even if it's not a high-dollar coin. Even though the 1967 Washington quarter in dirty condition won't fetch a huge sum at auction, it's still a good coin for someone looking to buy silver or add it to a collection without breaking the bank. It's also worth noting that the value can change if you decide to clean or restore it, but that comes with a few risks. Cleaning a coin can sometimes lower its overall value, so make sure you're cautious with restoration techniques. So, there you have it, the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark in dirty condition. is worth around $415 to $456 in today's auction market, thanks mostly to its silver content. While it may not be a high-value coin, it's still a great piece for collectors who are looking to pick up silver at an affordable price. Next up, the 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the large date and D mint mark. If you've come across one of these pennies in your collection, you might be wondering how much it could be worth in today's market. Well, stick around because we'll explore its value, condition, and what makes this coin so special. Let's start with a bit of background. The 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in large quantities, with the large date variety being one of the key details that collectors look for. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln Wheat series, which was introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The obverse features Lincoln's iconic portrait, while the reverse shows two wheat stalks, framing the phrase "once." The 1927 penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but today we're specifically focusing on the Denver mint version, marked with the D mint mark. The large date variety has become a favorite for many collectors, thanks to the distinctiveness of the larger digits on the date. Now, let's take a closer look at the key features that make the 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny stand out. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln's profile, we find the words "In God, we trust liberty" and 1927, with the large date distinguishing this variety from others. If you're holding a 1927 large date, you'll notice the numbers are larger and more spread out compared to other years, making this a collectible feature. On the reverse, the design includes two wheat stalks framing the words United States of America, and a pluribus unum below these. The coin features the denomination 1 cent. This reverse design was used throughout the Wheat Penny series and adds a timeless feel to this coin. Next, let's talk about the condition of this penny. The coin we're discussing today is in fine condition. But what does that mean? Well, a fine condition coin will show clear details, but some wear is visible. The design will still be sharp and well defined, although the coin might have some scratches, blemishes, or minor discoloration due to circulation. However, in fine condition, the features on Lincoln's face, the wheat stalks, and the mint mark should still be easily identifiable. In a fine condition coin, you can expect to see Lincoln's face clearly, the wheat stalks still well defined, and the mint mark visible. The date should be legible, but there may be some wear in the finer details, such as Lincoln's hair and the wheat heads. A fine grade falls between very good and extra fine on the coin grading scale. You're probably wondering, how much can you expect to get for a 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny in fine condition? Let's dive into the current market value. While the 1927 penny in fine condition isn't as rare as some other years, it is still considered a valuable piece for collectors. The price of these coins can vary depending on several factors, such as demand, the state of the market, and the specific grade. In today's auction market, the 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the D mint mark in fine condition can typically sell for anywhere from $250 to $300. It's important to note that this value is for coins that are in fine condition. If the coin were in extra fine or mint state condition, it could fetch higher prices. For a well-maintained fine coin, expect something around the $420, $550 range on. Now, what makes the 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny so valuable despite being produced in relatively large numbers? The value of any coin depends on rarity, demand, and condition, and these are the factors that come into play when assessing the price of this penny. The 1927 Denver minted penny is more common than some of its rarer counterparts, but it still carries demand from collectors who are looking to complete their sets of Lincoln Wheat pennies. Rarity plays a significant role in determining value, but so does collector interest. Because of the large date variety, the 1927 penny is considered a special edition within the series, and collectors actively seek it out. The D mint mark also adds some uniqueness to the coin, as not every 1927 penny was produced at the Denver Mint. To wrap up, the 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny with D mint mark in fine condition is a great find for any collector. While not the most valuable penny in the world, It holds significant historical and numismatic value. If you have one of these in your collection, you're holding a piece of American history that's well worth preserving. Next up, the 1986 Washington quarter with a large date and D-mint mark, graded in extra fine condition. This coin may not be one of the rarest in history, but its value in today's auction market can still be surprising. Let's dive into the details and see what makes it worth collecting. Here it is, the 1986 Washington quarter. This coin features the large date design, which became a distinct feature for many 1980s quarters. As you can see, the obverse features the iconic portrait of George Washington, while the reverse shows the eagle standing proudly on a bundle of arrows. What's important to note here is the D Mint mark, which tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The D Mint mark is common for quarters from this era, but it's still an essential detail for collectors looking for coins from specific mints. Now, let's talk about the condition. This particular 1986 quarter is graded as extra fine, meaning it has been well preserved with only minimal wear. The details, like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, are still sharp and clear, but you might notice a slight softening due to circulation. An extra fine coin is one step below a mint state coin, making it a highly desirable piece for collectors who prefer coins with some history but without too much. Grading is crucial when it comes to determining a coin's value. Coins in extra fine condition are more sought after than those in lower grades, and they often sell for a premium. So how much is the 1986 Washington quarter with the D-Mint mark worth in today's auction market? Based on recent auction results, a 1986 Washington quarter with a large date and D-Mint mark in extra fine condition typically sells for around $55,000. It's not a high-value coin, but it still holds a steady market price, especially if you're looking for a coin in excellent condition from the 1980s. Remember, this coin is composed of 90 silver, which adds intrinsic value to the coin. The silver content alone could raise its worth, particularly when silver prices rise. But for this particular quarter, its market value is mainly driven by its condition, mintage, and collector demand. While the 1986 Washington quarter isn't a rare coin like some earlier years, it's still a great addition to any collection, especially in extra fine condition. If you're a silver coin collector or a Washington quarter enthusiast, this coin offers both historical significance and value that could increase over time. So there you have it, a 1986 Washington quarter with a large date and D-Mint mark in extra fine condition is worth around $60,000 or more in today's market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this coin is a perfect example of how condition and details like the mint mark can affect the value of even common coins. Next up, the 1979 Washington quarter without a mint mark in very fine condition. While not the rarest coin out there, this quarter has some important features that influence its value in the market today. Stick around as we break down its worth in today's auction market and explore what makes this coin so intriguing. Here it is, the 1979 Washington quarter. This coin features the classic design by John Flanagan, with George Washington on the obverse and an eagle perched on a branch on the reverse. One thing you may notice about this coin is that it doesn't have a mint mark for quarters minted in 1979 without a mint mark. This indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is common for this year. Unlike other years, 1979 Washington quarters without a mint mark were fairly standard, meaning they weren't part of a rare mintage. However, when you factor in the coin's condition, things get more interesting. This one is graded as very fine, meaning it's been circulated but still has some solid detail remaining. You can still clearly make out George Washington's features, and the eagle is well defined on the reverse. To give you a better idea, a very fine grade means the coin shows moderate wear, but the main details are still crisp. You might notice some light flattening on high points like the hair or the wings of the eagle, but overall, the coin is in great shape for it. This is one of the reasons why a very fine coin can be more valuable than those in lower grades. Now, let's talk about value. In today's auction market, a 1979 Washington quarter without a mint mark in very fine condition typically fetches anywhere between $120,000. While it may not command a high price compared to rare coins, it still holds some market value. Of course, the final value will depend on the demand, the buyer's interest, and the specific details of the. Another factor to consider is the silver content. Like other Washington quarters minted before 1965, the 1979 quarter contains 90 silver. While it's not as high a percentage as earlier coins, it still contributes to its intrinsic value. When silver prices rise, the value of these quarters can increase as well, giving them additional worth beyond their collector value. Even though the 1979 Washington quarter without a mint mark isn't considered rare, its very fine condition and silver content make it a solid choice for collectors who are building a set or looking for coins with a bit of history. If you're lucky enough to have one in your collection, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on its market trends. So there you have. It's a 1979 Washington quarter without a mint mark in very fine condition holds a value of about $135,000 in today's auction market. It's not a coin that will make you a fortune, but it's still an important part of US coinage and a great addition to any collection. Next up, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a large date and D-mint mark in full damage condition. We're going to explore its value in today's auction market, what makes it stand out, and how much it might fetch despite its condition. Stay tuned to find out. First, let's go over a bit of background on this coin. The 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny was part of the series minted between 1909 and 1958, which features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse. The 1939 penny is part of the early 20th century production, a time when coin collecting was starting to gain popularity among hobbyists. In fact, this penny is from a year when the US Mint was producing coins in large quantities, making this particular penny relatively easy to find in circulation at the time. One thing to note about the 1939 penny is the large date variety, which stands out due to its bolder, more distinct numbers compared to the smaller date versions from other years. Additionally, the D-mint mark tells us this penny was minted at the Denver Mint, adding an extra element to its uniqueness. Although it's not the rarest of years for this coin, its large date variety makes it a sought-after piece for many. Now, let's address the condition of this particular coin, full damage condition. You might be wondering what this actually means. A coin in full damage condition is one that has undergone significant wear or physical alteration due to circulation. This can include things like scratches, dents, discoloration, and heavily worn details. In the case of the 1939 penny, Lincoln's portrait might be heavily worn, and the details of the wheat stalks could be barely visible. The date and mint mark may still be legible, but they will show signs of fading. A coin in full damage condition typically won't have the sharpness and clarity that a coin in fine or very fine condition would have, but it still holds some collectible value, especially for those who appreciate coins with a bit of character. So, how much can a 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny in full damage condition actually be worth? Well, it all depends on the combination of condition, rarity, and market demand. As we mentioned, the 1939 penny isn't exactly rare, with millions being produced by the Denver Mint. However, condition plays a crucial role in its value. In full damage condition, the coin's value drops significantly compared to one in unblemished or mint state condition. However, even a coin with heavy wear and damage can have some value, especially if it's a part of a complete set or if the large date and D-mint mark are still discernible. Now, let's talk value. In today's market, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny with D-mint mark in full damage condition generally has a value between $1,000 and $1,300. This is considerably less than what a penny in fine condition or extra fine condition would fetch, which can range between $1,500 and $2,000 or even higher, depending on the demand and the quality of the coin. Coins in full damage condition typically sell for lower amounts because collectors are usually looking for coins with more visual appeal and legible details. However, even damaged coins, like the 1939 Lincoln Penny, still have some value, especially in bulk sales, where collectors might buy them in lots for the sake of filling gaps in their collections. But make no mistake, a coin in full damage isn't going to fetch top dollar like those in better. So why does a coin with full damage still have some value? It all comes down to the intersection of rarity, demand, and condition. While the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny itself is not the rarest penny out there, collectors are still interested in completing full sets of coins from different years, especially those that feature mint marks like the D-mint mark. Even in damaged condition, the coin is a piece of American history, and there's always demand for it among dedicated collectors. The 1939 large date with D-mint mark remains a desirable piece for those looking to complete their wheat penny collections, even if the coin has seen better days. So while its value may not be high due to the damage, it still holds its place in the greater context of coin collecting. So there you have it, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and D-mint mark in full damage condition. While it might not be worth as much as its higher grade counterparts, it still holds a place of value for collectors, especially those who love to find unique pieces with some history and character. If you have one in your collection, remember that even damaged coins can still have some worth. Next up, the 1984 Washington quarter with a large date and a P mint mark, but in dirty condition. You might be wondering what this coin is worth in today's auction market, so let's break it down. Here we have the 1984 Washington quarter. This coin features the portrait of George Washington on the front and the iconic eagle on the reverse. The unique thing about this specific quarter is the large date style and the AP Mint mark, which tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. As you can see, the AP Mint mark on the reverse indicates that this coin was minted in Philadelphia. The 1984 quarter was issued as part of the regular series, and in this case, we see the large date variety, which was used in certain years to make the date more readable. Now, this coin is in what we call dirty condition. It's clear that the quarter has been exposed to dirt, grime, or other elements over time. While the design is still visible, the dirt and discoloration can impact the coin's overall appeal and value. Coins like this are typically harder to grade higher since dirt and debris obscure the finer details. When a coin is in dirty condition, it's not a good candidate for higher grades like very fine or extra fine. Cleaning a coin can sometimes help, but even then, it may not increase its value significantly. For a coin like this, the focus is on the coin's base metal content and its condition rather than its fine details. The 1984 Washington quarter, like other quarters from the 1965-1998 series, is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, meaning it doesn't contain silver. So, there's no intrinsic silver value like we see with earlier Washington quarters that were 90 silver. This makes it less valuable purely from a metal standpoint, but collectors still find value in certain mint, marks, and specific condition types. Looking at current auction results for a 1984 Washington quarter in dirty condition with a P mint mark, the typical sale price is around $1 to $3. While this isn't a huge amount, it's important to note that the value is largely dependent on collector interest and market conditions at the time of the auction. Even though this coin isn't in the best condition, it's still valuable to certain collectors, especially those who are interested in completing their sets. If you're not worried about condition and are just adding to your Washington quarter collection, this coin may still have a place in your collection. So, in today's auction market, a 1984 Washington quarter with AP Mint mark in dirty condition is worth around $1 to $3. It's not a high-value coin, but for a collector looking to fill in the gaps, it's still a nice piece. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more coin breakdowns, value insights, and tips. Do you have a 1984 Washington quarter or another interesting coin in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, happy collecting, and I'll see you in the next video.